Rian stepped off the small shuttle and onto the soft, glowing sands of Leora. The world stretched around him like a dream. The sky was a pale lavender, and twin suns hovered low, casting long reflections across the lakes that dotted the land. The air smelled faintly sweet, like flowers mixed with fresh water. For an explorer from Earth, this place was more beautiful than any picture or data scan had suggested. He adjusted his backpack and surveyed the shoreline. The lake in front of him was calm, its surface reflecting the colors of the sky. Strange. Plants grew at the edges, their leaves shimmering in shades of green and blue. Rian had been sent here to study minerals and collect water samples, but already he felt the weight of curiosity pressing harder than duty. Leora was alive in a way that made every human sense tingle with fascination. Rian knelt near the edge of the water to test the temperature. It was surprisingly warm, yet refreshing. Tiny ripples licked his fingers as if inviting him in. He leaned closer, peering into the lake. The water was clearer than anything he had seen on Earth. Beneath the surface, he could see shapes moving, with purpose, yet they did not resemble any fish or creature he had ever known. The patterns of movement were elegant, almost as if the water itself was dancing. Then he saw her. A figure rose from the lake, moving with a fluid grace that made the surface of the water ripple like silk. Her skin shone like polished silver, catching the light from the suns. Her hair flowed around her head in a way that seemed to float without water, long and glimmering like liquid crystal. Her eyes were the color of Leora's lakes, bright and deep, reflecting both the sky and something more, an intelligence and warmth that drew Rian closer without him realizing it. She smiled at him. The motion was simple, yet it carried power. There was a calm in her presence that made Rian forget the rules, the mission, and even the caution he had carried from Earth. He felt a pull toward her, stronger than any curiosity about minerals or the landscape. The moment stretched as she extended her hand, a graceful invitation that Rian could not resist. "Welcome," she said in a voice that sounded like wind through chimes. "I am Nira." Rian blinked. He had expected alien communication to be difficult, perhaps requiring a translator device. Yet her words were clear, simple, and gentle. They carried a tone of kindness he did not anticipate. I'm Rian," he replied, unsure why his voice sounded both nervous and calm at the same time. "I'm here to explore, to study your lakes and land." Nira tilted her head, her hair floating around her shoulders like water round a stone. "You came to learn," she said. "You do not take what you do not understand. That is rare among your kind." Rian's curiosity surged. He had studied alien behavior, but this was different. Nira was not just an alien. She was beautiful, not just in appearance, but in the way she moved, spoke, and seemed to exist in harmony with the water and the world around her. He felt a strange warmth in his chest, a feeling he had never experienced in the cold calculations of scientific research. "I thank you," he said, trying to keep his voice steady. He took a careful step forward, then another. The sand beneath his boots was firm yet soft, as if the ground itself approved of his approach. "Would you show me more of this place?" Nira laughed softly, a sound like rippling water over smooth stones. She extended her hand again. "Come into the water," she said. "See with me, not just with your eyes, but with your senses." Rian hesitated. His training warned him about entering unknown environments, about the risks of engaging with alien life too closely. Yet every fiber of his being urged him to step forward. He looked into her eyes and saw trust, curiosity, and something inviting. His hesitation melted like frost in the sun. Slowly, he stepped into the lake. The water was warm and welcoming. As soon as it touched his ankles, he felt a tingle run up his legs, like tiny currents brushing his skin. He waded deeper, and with each step, the water seemed to respond to him. Ripples formed patterns that looked like symbols, and small, glowing creatures swam past him. Curious but harmless, Nira moved through the water with ease, her body slicing the surface without disturbing the glow beneath. She watched him with quiet amusement, encouraging him without words. Rian felt clumsy in comparison, but he kept moving. Driven by curiosity and an unspoken connection, you breathe easily. She observed. Most who come here struggle at first. I don't know why, Rian admitted. It feels natural. Like I belong here, somehow. Nira's smile deepened. Perhaps you do, she said. Or perhaps this world simply recognizes those who wish no harm. Rian looked around. The lake was larger than he had imagined. Beneath the surface, he could see shapes moving in the glowing depths, structures that hinted at life and intelligence he could not yet comprehend. Everything in the water seemed connected, from the smallest fish-like creatures to the towering shapes in the distance. He realized that Nira was only one part of a greater world that awaited his discovery. As he followed her further into the lake, he felt a sense of peace he had never known. He had traveled across stars, explored distant planets, and yet nothing compared to the quiet wonder of this moment. Nira glanced back at him, her expression soft and inviting. Rian could not help but smile. He had no idea what lay ahead, but he knew this was the start of something extraordinary. For the first time, he allowed himself to forget the mission, the rules, and the expectations from Earth. Here, in the glowing waters of Leora, he felt the thrill of true exploration, discovery not just of a new world, but of a new connection, a new possibility. And with Nira leading the way, he knew that the story of his life was about to change forever. Rian followed Nira deeper into the lake, feeling the water rise around his chest. The world beneath the surface was more astonishing than anything he could have imagined. Light shimmered from every direction, reflecting off the smooth walls of what appeared to be natural formations, yet their shapes were precise and deliberate, like they had been built with thought and care. The water around them was filled with floating plants that glowed in soft colors: blue, green, and faint purple. Each movement of the plants seemed synchronized with the gentle currents, creating patterns that Rian could not begin to understand. Nira swam effortlessly, her movements fluid and graceful. She glanced back at him and smiled. "Do not worry about your steps," she said. "The water will guide you if you let it." Rian nodded, letting himself relax. He could feel the water pressing gently against him, supporting him in ways that felt almost alive. As he moved, small creatures swam around his arms and legs, curious and unafraid. They were translucent, with soft lights pulsing within their bodies. He reached out to touch one, and it darted away, leaving a trail of sparkles in the water. He laughed quietly, the sound carrying in the water and making Nira's eyes shine. "You enjoy this?" She observed. "I do," Rian admitted. "It feels different, peaceful, but also alive. Everything here seems connected." Nira nodded. "You are learning what our people know. The water, the plants, the creatures, they are part of a greater life. We are all linked. We move together, and we protect one another." They swam past glowing pillars that rose from the lake bed. Like towers, some were smooth and tall, others twisted in spirals, catching the light and scattering it in soft patterns. Rian tried to imagine what kind of force could create such formations naturally. But the more he looked, the more he felt that the structures were alive themselves. They pulsed with energy, a rhythm he could sense in the water around him. "Are these buildings?" he asked. Nira shook her head. "Not buildings. We call them homes. But they are grown, not built. The water gives life to what we need. Our people shape it with care. But the lake provides the energy." Rian was fascinated. He had seen human cities, even underwater habitats, but nothing like this. Every structure seemed to breathe, to shimmer and change with the currents. It was as if the lake itself was aware of their presence, and it welcomed them. As they moved further, Rian noticed creatures that seemed larger than anything he had expected. Some looked like long ribbons of light that drifted lazily, while others had hard shells and moved with surprising speed. Nira swam past them without fear, but Rian hesitated, remembering the warnings humans gave about unknown worlds. She noticed his caution. "Do not fear," she said softly. "They sense intentions. They know you are not a threat." Her words calmed him. He let his arms glide through the water and followed her more closely. It was an unusual sensation, being completely surrounded by life yet feeling entirely safe. He wondered if Earth had ever seen anything like this. His mind raced with questions, but he held them back, waiting for the right moment. Finally, Nira led him to a place where the lake widened into a vast basin. The water here was even clearer, and the light from the surface spread across the area. Like gentle fire, in the center of the basin, a large platform rose from the lake bed. It was smooth and luminous, glowing with a soft, welcoming light. Round it, more structures shimmered, smaller and delicate, like homes or meeting spaces. "This is where my people gather," Nira said. "The basin is our heart. From here, we share knowledge, life, and care for the lake." Rian floated above the platform, trying to take in everything. The beauty of the scene was overwhelming. He could not imagine the work and patience it took to grow such a place. Yet the sense of peace was what struck him most. Here, life was not a struggle against nature, but a part of it. Everything had purpose. Yet it was free and harmonious. Nira reached out to him again. "Come closer. There is someone I want you to meet." Rian followed, his heart beating with curiosity. As they approached, figures emerged from the glowing structures. They were like Nira in shape, though some were taller, others shorter. Their skin reflected the light in different shades of silver, blue, and soft gold. Their eyes were gentle, observing Rian with calm curiosity. "This is my people," Nira said proudly. "They will watch you. But do not fear. They will not harm you if you mean no harm." Rian felt a mix of awe and nervousness. These beings were unlike any humans, yet their expressions were familiar in a way that made him trust them. One of them, taller than the rest, stepped forward. The figure's eyes were deep blue, and its movements were slow but deliberate. "I am Maru." The figure said in a deep, clear voice, "You are an outsider. Tell us why you have come to our waters." Rian swallowed. "I am Rian, an explorer. From Earth, I came to study your lakes, your plants, and your world. I want to understand, not to take anything without permission." Maru studied him for a long moment. Then he nodded slightly. "Words are easy, intentions are harder to prove. You may stay, but you must show that your heart is true." Rian's pulse quickened. He was ready to do anything to earn their trust. Nira gave his hand a reassuring squeeze. "There is a trial," she said softly. "It is not simple, but it will show your heart." Rian looked at her, eager yet nervous. "I will do it," he said firmly. She smiled. "Then we begin." The basin seemed to hum with life around them. Rian felt the connection of everything: the water, the plants, the creatures, and the people themselves. He realized that he had not only stepped into a new world, but he had entered a way of life that valued harmony, trust, and understanding. With Nira guiding him, he felt ready for whatever came next. The sun above shimmered through the water, casting patterns across their path. Rian took a deep breath, feeling both fear and excitement. This was the moment where his journey on Leora truly began. He would face challenges, mysteries, and perhaps dangers, but he was not alone. Nira was with him, and the waters of Leora seemed to welcome him as one of their own. As he followed her further into the glowing depths, Rian felt a quiet certainty. This place, this people, and this connection were unlike anything he had ever known. The adventure of discovery was only starting, and he could not wait to see what awaited beneath the water. Rian followed Nira through the glowing waters, moving toward the heart of the Leoran city. The deeper they went, the more extraordinary the world became. The lake widened into a grand expanse filled with towering structures that shimmered like crystals. Each building seemed to pulse with its own light, casting gentle reflections across the water. The shapes were elegant and strange: spirals, arches, and domes that appeared alive, growing organically as though shaped by the lake itself. Small creatures floated around them, their translucent bodies glowing softly. Some looked like ribbons of light, twisting and turning gracefully. Others resembled small fish, but their scales reflected the surrounding glow, making them sparkle like stars. Rian had never seen anything like this. Every movement seemed choreographed with the water, creating a serene and mesmerizing scene. Nira led him along a pathway of soft, glowing plants that formed a natural bridge through the water. "These paths guide visitors and our people safely," she explained. They grow where they are needed and change with time. The lake shapes itself around life. Rian reached out to touch one of the glowing leaves. It felt smooth, almost like glass, yet warm. The plant pulsed gently beneath his fingers, and a ripple of light spread across it. He marveled at how alive everything felt, connected to the water and to each other. As they approached a large central structure, Rian noticed others like Nira moving through the water with perfect ease. Some swam alone, some in pairs, their forms blending seamlessly with the flowing light around them. There was no sound other than the gentle movement of water, yet communication seemed to flow between them in ways Rian could not yet understand. This is where the city gathers for guidance and learning, Nira said. We call it the heart. It is not only our home, but also the place where knowledge is shared. Rian studied the heart. It was a wide, dome-like structure, with glowing patterns spiraling from the base to the top. The light inside was soft but powerful, illuminating the entire area. He could see figures moving within, their forms shifting in harmony with the glow. The heart seemed alive, as if it breathed with the people who lived there. They live in harmony with the lake, Rian said quietly. Everything here feels connected. Nira nodded. We do not dominate, we listen, and we grow together. That is our way. Rian felt a mix of awe and humility. On Earth, humans build structures of metal and stone, often imposing themselves on nature. Here, he saw a civilization that blended with its world, shaping it carefully without harming it. He realized that the Laorans' connection to the water was not just physical. It was a part of their identity, their culture, and their understanding of life itself. They entered the heart together. Inside, the water was warmer and lighter, carrying a soft glow that seemed to originate from the walls themselves. The figures within turned to observe them. Their expressions were curious but calm, and Rian felt no threat from their gaze. Some of the Laorans approached to study him closely, while others continued their tasks. Moving with a serene focus, one figure, taller and more luminous than the rest, stepped forward. Maru, the elder Rian had met at the basin, greeted him with a slight nod. You have come far, Maru said. Not all who enter our waters are patient or open to learning. You are different. Rian bowed slightly in respect. I want to understand your world. I want to learn. Maru studied him for a long moment, then he motioned for Rian to follow. Come, there is much to show you, but you must first learn the ways of the Laorans. Observation is the first step toward understanding. Nira swam alongside him, her hand brushing his arm occasionally, reassuring him. They passed through halls of flowing water that opened into chambers filled with glowing plants and gentle creatures. Some chambers contained knowledge stored in the forms of light patterns, shifting and changing like living books. Rian watched as Nira touched a pattern, and images appeared in the water, showing the history of her people. They do not need paper or machines, Rian whispered. Their knowledge flows through the water itself. Nira nodded. We learn from the lake, from each other, and from the life around us. Everything teaches us if we observe and listen. Rian realized that he was not just a visitor in a strange city. He was part of a living network. Every step he took, every motion he made, seemed to ripple through the water, touching the world and its people. The city was alive in a way humans could not yet comprehend. As they moved deeper, Nira led him to a quiet chamber near the center of the heart. Here, the glow was softest, and the water seemed to hum with energy. A small pool reflected the twin suns above, even though they were far above the water's surface. Nira gestured toward it. This is where we meditate and connect with the lake, she explained. It allows us to understand the currents, the creatures, and each other more deeply. Rian knelt at the edge of the pool, letting the water lap at his hands. He felt a warmth spreading through him, a sense of calm that filled his mind. Round him, the water pulsed gently, and he could almost sense the presence of life everywhere, plants, creatures, and the Laorans themselves. Focus on the water, Nira said softly. Feel it, not just with your body, but with your thoughts. Let it guide you. Rian closed his eyes and let himself drift. He felt the currents move around him, carrying messages from distant parts of the city. He sensed the creatures swimming near and far, their puffs forming patterns in the water. He understood, for the first time, that the lake was not just a habitat, it was a network of life, knowledge, and energy. When he opened his eyes, Nira was beside him, smiling. "You are learning quickly," she said. "Not many from the surface can feel the lake this way." Rian smiled back, feeling a sense of pride mixed with wonder. "It is incredible, everything here. It is alive, in ways I never imagined." Nira nodded. "And this is only the beginning. There is more to see, more to understand, and more to feel. The lake will guide you, if you are willing to follow." Rian looked around the glowing chamber, at the flowing water, the shimmering plants, and the graceful movements of the Laorans. He felt a connection he had never known, a bond with this world and its people. He knew that he had come here not only to explore, but to become part of something greater, something beautiful. As he swam beside Nira toward the next chamber, Rian realized that his journey on Leora had truly begun. He would face challenges, mysteries, and perhaps dangers, but he was ready. With Nira guiding him and the lake surrounding him, he felt a quiet confidence. This was not just an adventure, it was a discovery of life, connection, and the extraordinary possibilities that awaited beneath the water. Rian followed Nira through the glowing pathways of the heart, feeling more at ease with each stroke of the water. The city beneath the lake seemed endless, filled with structures that grew naturally from the water itself. Every surface shimmered with soft light, illuminating intricate patterns that told stories of the Laorans' history. Small creatures swam past, leaving trails of glowing sparkles that added to the serene beauty. "This place is incredible," Rian said, letting his fingers trail along the glowing plants that lined the path. "It feels alive in a way I have never experienced." Nira smiled. "It is alive. Every part of the lake, every creature, every plant, every structure, everything exists in harmony. Our people have learned to listen to the water and to care for it, rather than take from it. That is our way." Rian nodded. He had learned quickly to respect this world, but he still had much to understand. Nira led him to a wider area of the heart where more Laorans had gathered. Some were floating calmly, while others interacted with glowing devices or patterns that hovered in the water. Their movements were graceful and deliberate, as if every action had purpose. "This is our council space," Nira explained. "Here we meet to discuss the needs of the lake, the people, and our growth. You will see how we work together and how decisions are made." Rian observed quietly. He noticed the harmony among them. There were no signs of anger or competition. Each Leoran listened carefully, responded thoughtfully, and moved with an awareness of everyone around them. The way they communicated was subtle, relying on gestures, light patterns, and flowing movements in the water. He realized that their society valued understanding and cooperation more than power or dominance. A tall Leoran approached him and Nira. His skin was a deep silver blue, and his eyes reflected the soft light of the heart. "I am Maru," he said in a calm voice. "You are an outsider. You have followed Nira well, but now you must show that your intentions are honest. The lake welcomes many, yet not all can live in harmony with it." Rian took a steady breath. "I did not come to harm. I want to learn, to understand, and to respect your world." Maru studied him closely. Then he gestured toward a glowing pattern that hovered above the water. It resembled a map of the surrounding lake and structures. "To prove your trustworthiness, you must perform a task. You will retrieve a crystal that grows in the current caves. It is dangerous for those who are not trained. If you succeed, you will show your understanding of our ways." Rian felt a thrill of both excitement and fear. He had studied alien environments, but he had never faced a real challenge like this. Nira touched his arm gently. "I will guide you," she said. "The currents can be strong, and the creatures can be unpredictable, but together we can succeed." They swam in silence toward the area you had indicated. The water grew cooler as they approached the caves. The light from the heart faded slightly, replaced by the faint glow of bioluminescent plants and minerals that lined the rocky walls. Rian could feel the water moving faster, currents twisting around the narrow passages. "The currents will test your focus," Nira warned. "Do not fight them, but use them to guide your movements." The lake will help those who respect it. Rian nodded, concentrating on the flow of the water. He felt it push against him, then pull him forward, guiding him like a gentle hand. Nira swam ahead, showing him how to move with the currents rather than against them. As they passed through a narrow tunnel, shadowy shapes moved in the darkness. Rian tensed, unsure if they were dangerous. "Do not fear," Nira said softly. "They sense intentions. They will not harm those who mean no harm." A large creature darted past them, its body shimmering with silver light. Rian's heart raced, but he stayed calm and followed Nira's lead. The creature circled them briefly, then disappeared into the shadows. He realized that the lake's creatures were both beautiful and intelligent. They tested him, but they did not attack. Finally, they reached the crystal chamber. The cavern opened into a wide space filled with glowing crystals that grew from the rocky floor. Each crystal pulsed with light, casting colorful reflections across the walls. Rian's eyes widened. Some crystals were as tall as he was, while others formed delicate clusters that shimmered like stars. "The crystal you seek is the largest one," Nira said. "It grows at the center. You must be careful. The currents are strongest there, and the crystals are fragile." Rian approached slowly. The water swirled around him, pressing gently against his body. He extended his hand toward the central crystal. Its surface was smooth and warm, vibrating slightly as if alive. He grasped it carefully, feeling a surge of energy flow through the water into his hand. Suddenly, a stronger current rushed toward him, threatening to push him off balance. Rian clenched his teeth and moved with the flow, allowing it to guide him. Nira swam alongside, helping him stay steady. Together, they reached the edge of the crystal chamber, where the current eased and the water became calm again. Rian exhaled deeply, holding the crystal with care. "I did it," he said, a mix of relief and pride in his voice. Nira smiled brightly. "You have shown respect, courage, and understanding. That is what the lake values most." The crystal recognizes your intentions. They swam back toward the heart, the crystal held securely between them. Along the way, Rian noticed the creatures and plants responding to his presence with a gentle glow. As if acknowledging his success, the lake itself seemed to welcome him as part of its life. When they returned, Maru and the other Liorans awaited them. Maru studied the crystal and nodded. "You have passed the trial. You have shown that your heart is true and that you respect the ways of the lake. You may remain among us and continue to learn." Rian felt a sense of pride and connection unlike anything he had known before. He had not only discovered a new world, but had begun to earn the trust of its people. Nira's hand brushed his arm, and he saw the warmth and pride in her eyes. "This is only the beginning," Nira said softly. "There is much more to see, learn, and experience. The lake and its people will guide you, if you remain open and true." Rian nodded, feeling a deep bond forming not only with Nira, but with the entire world beneath the water. He understood that Leora was alive in ways Earth could not comprehend, and that trust, respect, and harmony were the keys to its wonders. For the first time, he felt that he belonged somewhere beyond his own planet. He had entered a world of beauty, intelligence, and life that valued connection over conquest. And with Nira by his side, he knew that the adventures ahead would be as extraordinary as the city, the lake, and the people who called it home. Rian held the crystal carefully as he followed Nira through the glowing waters, toward the outskirts of the Leoran city. The deeper they went, the currents grew stronger, twisting and swirling around them. The light from the heart faded, replaced by the gentle glow of bioluminescent plants along the rocky walls. The path was beautiful, but it carried an air of danger. Rian felt a mixture of excitement and nervousness. "This is the trial of the currents," Nira explained. "Not all who enter can pass. The lake will test your focus, patience, and courage. But if you are true to yourself, it will guide you safely." Rian nodded. He tightened his grip on the crystal and let the water carry him. The currents pushed against his body, then lifted him gently, like hands guiding him forward. He realized that moving with the water required complete trust and attention. Every thought, every motion, affected his balance. As they approached the current caves, the passage narrowed. Sharp rocks jutted out, their surfaces glowing faintly. Small creatures darted through the shadows. Observing them silently, the water moved faster here, swirling round the rocks and creating powerful eddies. Rion felt his heart race. One wrong move could push him into the jagged walls. "Stay close to me," Nira said calmly. "Do not fight the water. Let it guide you, and you will reach the crystal safely." Rion followed her, mimicking her movements. He extended his hand slightly. Feeling the currents flow round him, the water pushed him to the left, then right, then up. Testing his focus and control, he realized that fear would only make the currents stronger. He took a deep breath and let himself relax, moving as if he were part of the water. Suddenly, a shadow moved through the currents. A large creature, sleek and fast, swam toward them. Its body shimmered like silver, and its eyes reflected the faint light around the cave. Rion froze, unsure of its intentions. "Do not be afraid," Nira whispered. "It senses your heart. Stay calm." Rion focused on the crystal he sought, keeping his mind steady. The creature circled them, moving gracefully through the water. It paused, then continued past them without attacking. Rion exhaled quietly, feeling a surge of relief and wonder. The lake's creatures were powerful, yet they tested rather than harmed those who were honest and respectful. They reached the center of the current caves, where the crystal grew. It was larger than he had imagined, glowing with a soft, internal light that illuminated the swirling water around it. The currents here were strongest, twisting violently and pushing against him. Rion realized that reaching the crystal would require perfect timing and calm focus. "Use the flow, not your strength," Nira said. "The lake will carry you if you listen." Rion extended his hand toward the crystal. He felt the water pressing against him, trying to push him off balance. He let himself float with the currents, adjusting his body with each shift. The water tugged gently, then released, then moved again in a complex rhythm. Rion focused entirely on the flow, letting the lake guide him to the crystal. Finally, his fingers brushed its surface. The crystal pulsed warmly under his touch, sending waves of energy through the water. Rion held it carefully, feeling a sense of accomplishment and connection. He realized that the lake recognized his intentions, and in that recognition, he felt an unspoken bond with this world. Suddenly, another strong current surged, threatening to push him back. Rion tightened his grip on the crystal, letting the water carry him rather than resisting. Nira swam beside him, her movements steady and confident. Together, they maneuvered through the twisting currents, following the natural flow until the water calmed near the edge of the cave. Rion exhaled deeply, holding the crystal securely. "We did it," he said, a mixture of relief and pride in his voice. Nira smiled. "You have shown respect, patience, and courage. That is what the lake values most. You have passed this trial, but there are more lessons ahead. The journey is not only about what you take, but how you move through life and the water." Rion looked around the cave, noticing the glowing patterns of plants and crystals. The water seemed alive, as if it were aware of their success. He realized that every creature, every current, and every structure here responded to the balance between trust and action. The Leoran people had learned to live in harmony with it, and now he was beginning to understand that way of life. As they swam back toward the heart, Rion felt a closeness to Nira that went beyond simple friendship. She had guided him, taught him to trust, and share the beauty and challenge of her world. Each movement together strengthened their connection, forming a bond that felt both natural and profound. When they returned, the other Liorans awaited them. Maro observed the crystal and nodded in approval. "You have succeeded," he said. "You have proven your courage and understanding. You are welcome among us." "And the lake acknowledges your heart." Rion felt a deep sense of accomplishment. He had faced danger, trusted the unknown, and learned to move in harmony with the currents. The experience had changed him, showing him the strength and beauty of connection, patience, and trust. Nira's hand brushed his arm, her smile bright and warm. "This is only the beginning," she said. "There is much more to learn, much more to see, and much more to feel. The lake will guide you if you continue to listen and respect its ways." Rion looked around at the glowing city, the gentle currents, and the graceful Leorans moving through the water. He realized that he had not only proven himself to them, but he had discovered a new way of understanding life itself. It was not about control or possession, but about connection, patience, and harmony. He turned to Nira. "I am ready," he said quietly. "I want to continue learning, exploring, and understanding. I want to see all that this world has to offer." Nira smiled, her eyes reflecting the glow of the city. "Then we will continue together. The lake will show you wonders you cannot yet imagine, and each step will bring you closer to understanding." As they swam through the glowing waters, Rion felt a deep sense of belonging. The lake had tested him, guided him, and welcomed him. He had faced challenges and discovered the strength within himself to move with courage and respect. And beside him, Nira swam gracefully, a constant reminder that connection and trust could create bonds stronger than fear or doubt. The journey ahead promised more mysteries, more challenges, and more beauty than he could imagine. Yet Rion felt certain that he would face them with confidence, guided by the lake and supported by Nira. Together, they moved forward, deeper into the heart of the Leoran world, ready to discover the extraordinary life that awaited beneath the water. Rion followed Nira beyond the heart, deeper into the glowing waters of the Leoran city. The currents were gentle here, yet the area felt wild and untamed. Strange plants swayed with the flow, and creatures of all shapes and sizes darted past. Them, Rion had grown accustomed to the glow of the city, but this part of the lake felt more mysterious, as if it held secrets that even the Leorans treated with caution. "Where are we going?" Rion asked, curiosity shining in his eyes. "There is a place where few outsiders have been," Nira explained. "It is a test of courage and awareness. You have proven yourself with the crystal, but this will show how you respond to unexpected danger." Rion swallowed. He had faced strong currents before, but he sensed that this would be different. He tightened his grip on the water, letting the gentle flow guide him as Nira led the way. They reached a narrow passage, the walls lined with glowing coral-like formations that pulsed with light. The water here was colder, carrying a faint hum that vibrated through his chest. Small creatures darted in and out of crevices, watching silently as the two moved forward. "Stay close," Nira said softly. "The lake will show us the way, but we must be alert. Some creatures here test strength and intent. They do not attack without reason, but they will challenge those who are careless." Rion nodded, his heart beating faster. He had learned to trust the lake and the currents, but he felt a surge of nervous energy. He followed Nira closely, letting her guide him through twists and turns, avoiding sharp rocks and sudden drops. Suddenly, the water shifted violently. A large shadow moved in the darkness, circling them quickly. Rion froze. The creature was enormous, with a sleek body and glowing patterns along its skin. Its eyes reflected the faint light of the surrounding coral, and its presence radiated both power and intelligence. "Do not panic," Nira whispered. "It senses you. Remember what you have learned. Show respect and calm." Rion focused on his breathing. He let his body move with the water rather than against it, keeping his hands steady and his movements deliberate. The creature swirled around them, testing their balance, then paused at a distance, watching. Its fins cut through the water like blades of silver light, and its gaze seemed to measure not only their strength, but their intentions. "You are brave," Nira said softly, "but bravery without understanding is dangerous. Let the lake guide you, and do not provoke the creature." Rion extended a hand slowly, not toward the creature, but into the flow of the water. He concentrated on calm, steady movements, and the creature circled closer, its glowing eyes scanning him. Rion could feel its awareness, its curiosity, and its intelligence. It was testing him, not attacking. With each careful movement, Rion felt more in tune with the currents. The water pressed gently, guiding him, while the creature observed silently. Nira moved beside him, her presence reassuring and steady. Together, they passed through the narrow canyon, the creature trailing them but keeping a respectful distance. Finally, the passage opened into a wide cavern filled with towering crystals. Light from the crystals reflected across the water, illuminating every corner. The creature paused at the entrance, then slowly retreated into the shadows, leaving Rian and Nira alone. "You have faced the challenge," Nira said, her eyes shining. "You have shown calm, courage, and respect." The lake and its creatures recognize this. Few outsiders succeed in this test. Rian let out a breath he had been holding. Feeling relief and exhilaration, he looked round at the glowing crystals, their light reflecting off the water and casting dancing patterns across the cavern walls. The energy of the place was unlike anything he had experienced. "What is this place?" he asked. "This is the Crystal Cavern," Nira explained. "It is sacred to my people. The currents here are strong, and the creatures are protective. Only those who have proven their hearts may enter safely. The crystals store energy and knowledge, and they connect us to the lake and each other." Rian approached one of the taller crystals, reaching out to touch it. The surface was smooth and warm, and as his fingers made contact, he felt a pulse of energy flow through him. It was not painful, but it made his senses sharper. He could feel the movement of the water around him more clearly, the flow of currents, and the presence of creatures. It was as if the cavern itself was alive, breathing with him and Nira. "You can feel it," Nira said, smiling. "The energy here strengthens the connection between the lake and those who are open to it. It teaches patience, awareness, and harmony." Rian nodded. He realized that each challenge he faced in the Lioran waters was not just a test of courage, but a lesson in understanding life and connection. He had learned to trust the water, the currents, and Nira, and now he felt the energy of the lake flowing through him. "Will we return to the heart now?" Rian asked. "Not yet," Nira replied. "There is one more part of this journey before we return. The lake has one final lesson for you today." She led him deeper into the cavern, past clusters of glowing crystals and swaying plants. The water grew warmer, and the currents slowed, creating a sense of calm. They reached a small alcove where a single crystal floated, suspended by the water itself. Its glow was brighter than any they had seen, casting reflections that danced across the cavern walls. "This is the heart crystal," Nira said. "It is the source of energy and knowledge in this part of the lake. It responds only to those who are truly connected to the water and the life around it. To touch it is to show complete harmony and understanding." Rian approached slowly, feeling the gentle pull of the crystal through the water. He extended a hand. Keeping his movements calm and deliberate, the crystal responded to his presence. Glowing brighter as if recognizing his heart, he reached out and touched it, feeling a wave of energy ripple through the water in his body. The sensation was unlike anything he had ever known. He could feel the currents, the creatures, and the crystals as one living system. He understood, in a way beyond words, the connection that the Liorans had with their world. It was not control or domination, but respect, awareness, and harmony. Nira's hand touched his arm, grounding him. "You have succeeded, Rian. You have faced danger, trusted the lake, and shown your heart. You are part of this world now, and the lake welcomes you." Rian smiled, feeling a deep sense of belonging. He had faced challenges, discovered wonders, and learned lessons that went beyond anything Earth had taught him. With Nira by his side and the lake guiding him, he knew that the journey ahead would be full of discovery, connection, and extraordinary experiences. As they swam back toward the heart, Rian felt a quiet confidence. He had faced a predator, mastered the currents, and connected with the life of Liora in ways he had never imagined. The bond between him and Nira had grown stronger, and he felt a new understanding of the harmony and beauty that surrounded him. The glowing city welcomed them back, its light reflecting the triumph of the journey. Rian realized that he had not only explored a new world, but he had become part of it, learning the true meaning of courage, trust, and connection in the waters of Liora. Rian swam beside Nira as they returned to the heart, carrying with him the lessons, experiences, and bonds he had forged in the Lioran waters. The glowing city welcomed them, its light reflecting across the gentle currents like a celebration. Every structure, plant, and creature seemed to pulse with energy, as if acknowledging his journey and growth. For the first time, Rian felt that he truly belonged here, not as a visitor, but as part of a living, breathing world. This city is more beautiful than I ever imagined, Rian said softly, and it feels alive in a way that is beyond anything I have ever known. Nira smiled, her eyes reflecting the soft glow around them. It is alive, Rian, and now you are part of it. You have learned patience, courage, and respect. The lake has accepted you, and the people trust you. But there is still more for you to see, to feel, and to understand. They move through the heart, past Liorans who swam gracefully, tending to plants, interacting with glowing patterns, and communicating through light and movement. Each person, each creature, each plant contributed to the harmony of the city. Rian had learned that true strength lay not in domination or conquest, but in understanding and connection. Maru approached them, his eyes calm and thoughtful. You have faced the trials of the currents, the crystal, and the predator, he said. You have shown wisdom, respect, and courage today. You are ready to witness the ultimate beauty of our world. Rian's heart beat faster. What is it? He asked. Nira gestured toward a narrow passage, barely wide enough for two to swim side by side. Follow me. This is the path of light. It will take you to the deepest part of the lake, where the true heart of Leora shines. Few outsiders have ever reached it. They swam in silence, the water growing cooler as they descended. The glow of the heart faded. Behind them, replaced by a faint, radiant light that seemed to come from the water itself. Strange, delicate creatures floated past, their bodies shimmering like living gems. The currents moved in complex patterns, guiding them forward while testing their attention and focus. This path is alive, Nira explained. It moves and changes with every traveler. It will guide those who are patient and open, but it will challenge those who are restless or careless. Rian nodded, letting the water flow around him. He felt the pulse of the currents, the subtle energy of the lake, and the presence of life all around. With each stroke, he sensed the connection between himself, Nira, and the world beneath the surface. The water seemed to hum with anticipation, preparing them for what lay ahead. After a long swim, they reached a vast cavern, its walls covered in glowing crystals that radiated a soft, pure light. The water here was warm and clear, and the currents moved gently, carrying them forward. In the center of the cavern floated a massive crystal formation, larger and more radiant than any Rian had seen. Its light spread through the water, illuminating the entire space in a kaleidoscope of colors. This is the heart of Leora, Nira said, her voice filled with reverence. It is the source of energy, knowledge, and life in our world. Every current, every creature, and every Leoran is connected to it. To touch it is to understand the harmony of the lake and the unity of all life within it. Rian approached slowly, feeling a sense of awe that made his chest tighten. The crystal seemed to pulse with the rhythm of the water, its light reflecting in the eyes of the creatures swimming nearby. He reached out and touched its surface, feeling a wave of energy flow through him. It was warm and gentle, yet it carried a power that made him aware of the vast network of life around him. The energy of the heart flowed through his body, connecting him to the currents, the creatures, the plants, and the Liorans themselves. He felt the lake's wisdom, its patience, and its boundless beauty. In that moment, Rian understood that the strength of Leora lay not in force, but in harmony, trust, and care. Nira's hand rested lightly on his arm. You see now, Rian, this is why we live in balance with the lake. It gives us life, knowledge, and purpose, and it rewards those who approach with respect and understanding. Rian closed his eyes, letting the light and energy of the heart fill him. He felt a deep bond with Nira, one built on shared experience, trust, and discovery. He realized that he had grown beyond being a mere explorer. He was part of something far greater than himself. The lake had taught him lessons that no book, machine, or human could ever convey. When he opened his eyes, Nira smiled at him. Do you understand now, Rian? She asked. He nodded, his voice filled with quiet awe. I do. I see the beauty, the connection, and the harmony. I see how your people live, not for themselves alone, but as part of everything around them. And I feel honored to be part of it. Nira reached out, taking his hand fully this time. Then you are truly one with the lake. Your journey is brought you here, and now you are part of our world. The heart has recognized you. Rian looked at the crystal, then at Nira, and felt a surge of gratitude. He had come seeking knowledge and understanding, but he had found something far more profound: connection, respect, and the realization that life was strongest when it was shared in harmony. For hours, they remained in the cavern, exploring the heart's energy, observing the creatures and the glowing currents, and learning from the subtle patterns of life around them. Each moment deepened Rian's understanding and strengthened the bond between him and Nira. He saw how the Laorns communicated not only with words or gestures, but with energy, light, and movement. Every being was part of the same rhythm, the same flow, and now he was part of it too. Finally, Nira guided him back toward the heart of the city. The journey back felt different, lighter, and more joyful. Rian moved through the water with confidence, aware of the currents, the creatures, and the glowing paths. The city welcomed him with gentle light, as if acknowledging that he had completed his transformation from outsider to one who truly belonged. Maru greeted them at the entrance of the heart. "You have seen the heart of Leora," he said. "You have faced trials, dangers, and wonders. You have proven yourself in every way from this day. You are part of our world, and the lake recognizes you as one of its own." Rian bowed respectfully. "Thank you," he said, "for your guidance, your trust, and for showing me a world more beautiful than I could have imagined." Nira swam beside him, her smile bright. "And we are grateful that you came. You have learned, respected, and grown. The lake has given you its trust, and now it is yours to experience fully." Rian looked around at the glowing city, the flowing currents, and the graceful creatures. He felt a sense of peace and belonging that he had never known on Earth. He had discovered a world of beauty, life, and harmony, and he had become part of it. As he swam beside Nira, he realized that his journey had changed him forever. He had found trust, friendship, and a deeper understanding of life itself. The waters of Leora had welcomed him, tested him, and taught him, and he knew that he would continue to explore, learn, and grow alongside Nira and her people. Together, they moved through the glowing currents, part of the living city, connected to the heart of Leora, and ready to embrace all the wonders that awaited beneath the water. Rian had come seeking adventure and knowledge, but he had found something far greater: belonging, harmony, and a connection that would last a lifetime.